As soon as the high school exams end, years of crazy stress finally melt away. That's when his close friend Su Baizhou invites him over, and honestly, the timing is perfect. His parents happen to be out of town that day, leaving just the two of them alone. The vibe immediately shifts to something else as they sit side by side on the couch.
Neither of them says a word, just sitting in the quiet, dimly lit room.
The only light comes from the flickering TV screen, casting soft shadows around them.
Halfway through the film, our main character is completely absorbed in the story.
Suddenly, Su Baizhou reaches up and gently pulls one side of his t-shirt collar down before slowly turning his head. His eyes lock onto our guy, and he whispers in a low, quiet voice.
He whispers, "Let me show you something beautiful," flashing back to graduation night.
Our boy was actually planning to confess to his crush, Su Wan, after preparing for months.
He practiced his confession speech 1,000,000 times and scrubbed his white sneakers spotless.
He even bought the exact champagne roses she loved, but right under the school tree, he literally catches her smiling and running straight into the arms of another guy.
As they turn, Su Wan's smiling face under the warm streetlights just pierces his chest. Standing there holding his flowers, his entire world completely shatters into pieces.
The rustling of the wrapping paper suddenly sounds deafeningly loud until a voice calls out. "What are you doing here?" Su Baizhou asks, stepping out from around the corner. He clearly just left a class party, with his school jacket casually draped over his shoulder. Spotting the roses in our boy's hands, Su Baizhou pauses, completely caught off guard. Then he chuckles, teasingly asking if those flowers are actually meant for him. Our MC's mind goes completely blank, and those flowers suddenly feel like hot coals.
In a sheer panic of pure embarrassment, his body literally moves on autopilot.
He shoves the bouquet right into Su Baizhou's chest, blurts out that they are indeed for him, and runs off before his friend can even react. Talk about an accidental confession. He hears footsteps hesitating behind him, but he just keeps running without looking back.
All he wanted was to escape that sheer embarrassment. For the next few days,
he locks himself in his room, completely ghosting the rest of the world.
His phone keeps lighting up with endless notifications from the class group chats.
His closest friends text him to check in, but he ignores every single one of them. Turns out, realizing your crush loves someone else feels like a complete punch to the gut. It's not some dramatic, screaming pain, it is just this quiet, hollow emptiness. Like a cold wind constantly blowing through a hole in your chest. Just pure, numbing sadness. But wait, fast forward to this afternoon. His screen lights up again, but this time it's a text from Su Baizhou. He asks if our boy is bored at home and invites him over. These two have been best friends since middle school and lived right next door. Back then they were practically joined at the hip, walking to school together every day. But once high school classes split them up, they slowly drifted apart. When that text finally comes through after all this time, our boy hesitates, but he's so tired of being alone with his thoughts. Instead of suffering cooped up in his room, he decides to go over. Su Baizhou opens the door wearing an oversized white tee, wet hair framing his shoulders. His collarbone is completely exposed, and he practically radiates that fresh post-shower scent. He wore light gray athletic shorts clinging to his slender thighs. Drowning in breakup grief, she didn't really care to look.
She just nodded and walked straight into the living room.
The air smelled of clean laundry, super fresh.
They chatted on the couch, but every conversation quickly went cold.
Feeling the awkward silence, he got up to suggest a movie. After she agreed, he walked over to pull the heavy curtains. The room went dark. The projector beam lit up. Motes of dust danced in the light, showing an action movie. As muffled explosions filled the room, her eyes drifted to his desk. And there they were, those champagne roses, still in a vase. Right by the lamp, petals slightly withered. Clearly, he was low-key treasuring them. This slow burn is unreal, guys. She casually pointed them out while he kept staring at the screen. He flatly replied they looked nice, and the silence returned. Watching in silence, bullets flying. High-speed chases and fights built up to the ultimate climax. With the hero facing the villain on a rooftop, tension peaked. Right then, she felt his eyes on her. Turning around, she realized Su Baizhou had shifted toward her. Staring at her quietly, screen lights dancing across his face. In the dim room, his eyes shone brighter than ever.
Under the soft starlight, his oversized collar slips down, revealing a glimpse of pale, incredibly smooth skin.
It is honestly blinding, and our girl is just about to warn him. But he speaks first, his voice barely a whisper. Almost drowned out by the movie, he whispers, "Let me show you something." Instead of answering, he just reaches down and grabs the hem of his t-shirt. And in the next second, boom, he whips that white cotton shirt right off. He lands softly on the floor, wearing nothing but a simple light-colored undershirt.
In the dim light, her soft silhouette is clearly visible. The art is unreal.
Bro is completely frozen, can't even look away.
His mind is spinning in absolute chaos when, suddenly, he quietly leans in.
He presses his knees into the sofa and straddles right onto her lap. His warmth radiates straight through her thin shorts. She freezes. Then, he leans down. He softly presses his lips against hers, and in that exact second, her mind goes completely blank, just pure softness.
She catches his clean shampoo scent as his trembling fingers touch her.
He guides her hand onto his waist. His skin feels incredibly warm and smooth. Honestly, this romance is top tier. But then his other hand reaches around her back, fumbling with her clasp. A faint metallic click, like opening some kind of Pandora's box that instantly snaps her back to reality.
A cold sweat breaks out. Like, what are they even doing here? He wraps his arms around her waist and rolls over, completely swapping their positions.
Now she is gently pinned under him, her long hair spilling across the sofa. Her eyes are wide open in the dim light, glistening with dazed confusion. It makes his heart skip a beat, so he quickly pulls away. He grabs her t-shirt off the floor, shoves it back to her, and bolts. In his panic, he does not even change his shoes before the door slams shut. Leaning against the corridor wall, all he can hear is his own racing heartbeat. It is pounding so hard in his chest, almost about to burst. He runs all the way back home in one breath and locks the door. He slides down against the door onto the floor, his chest heaving wildly.
He is completely out of breath, but the weirdest part is this.
The dull ache of his recent heartbreak is suddenly overwritten by a chaotic new emotion. What is actually going on with Su Baizhou? Honestly, the author is cooking here. Subconsciously, he touches his lower lip as if he can still feel her. He can still taste the soft, damp touch of her sweet lips.
They carried an indescribable scent, almost like a piece of sweet fruit candy.
Her fresh shampoo scent and warm body heat had completely overwhelmed his senses. To be honest, he did not find that feeling unpleasant at all. For a second, it felt like the emptiness in his heart was finally being filled. His racing pulse slowly calms down, but a massive confusion sets in. The confusion wraps around his mind like a bunch of thick, tangled vines. Su Baizhou is beautiful, and he always knew that.
But she is not like Su Wan, who feels cold and distant.
Su Baizhou's beauty is much more vivid, lively, and approachable.
She has beautiful pale skin and eyes that are always sparkling.
When she smiles, the left corner of her mouth always curls up first. It is a subtle, incredibly charming look. Looking closely, she might actually be prettier than his old crush.
But they have known each other for far too long. She was always just the childhood friend he walked to school with.
His middle school desk mate who let him copy her homework. He never had romantic thoughts, even when they shared earphones and raced home. They even argued over math homework until they were both red in the face. She was just a constant part of his life, someone he took for granted. He never actually stopped to look at her as a real woman.
But today, the warmth of her skin changed everything.
And that clumsy yet passionate kiss completely shattered his old perception of her.
Now wait, is all of this because of that bouquet of flowers? That night in the hallway, his mind was totally blank from being rejected. He was too embarrassed to care about how she would feel about it.
But to her, how did she see it? Those were carefully chosen champagne roses handed over in such a rush. And with his sudden silence afterwards, did she misunderstand that he actually likes her? He covers his face, completely overwhelmed. His hand still remembers the delicate, soft touch of her waist. That warm touch is literally living rent-free in his head. He is totally panicking. What does he even do now?
For days, our boy and Su Baizhou have zero contact. Their entire chat is frozen on her last text asking if he is bored. Meet at her place? Yeah, that is incredibly awkward now.
Normal life resumes, but a heavy weight is constantly hanging over his heart. A total chokehold, keeping him awake all night.
Close eyes, boom. The dimly lit room returns.
Replaying on loop. Zero escape. Sometimes a full-on dream, other times a blurry, half-awake fantasy. Always the same vision. He is holding her.
She leans gently against his chest, her soft, warm breath brushing his neck. Skin-to-skin contact, a sudden shockwave through his body.
He snaps awake, staring blankly into the pitch black.
Sleep is totally gone. Time for a cold shower. Changing out of sweat-soaked pajamas, but that touch still lingers.
Every single detail, her warmth, her scent, is burning in his mind.
He can literally still feel the soft cotton of her casual t-shirt.
And how the couch cushions dipped when her knee pressed in.
Most of all, her wide, teary eyes when he finally pinned her down.
Startled deer eyes. High school hormones are literally dangerous.
Guys these age are already constantly daydreaming about stuff like this. But our boy is taking it to the next level, obsessing 24/7.
Just straight up fantasizing. Then, night 5.
He sits there just staring at the empty chat with Su Baizhou.
The cursor keeps blinking and he has got a million things to say. Like asking if she is doing okay after everything that went down. Or maybe he should just act normal and pretend nothing even happened. But every time he types a line, he panics and deletes it. Endless overthinking. He is completely paralyzed here.
Then, suddenly, his screen lights up. A text from Su Baizhou, incredibly short, asking if they can meet up because she wants to apologize to him.
Wait, she is the one apologizing? Why? Is it over that sudden tension? Or is she worried she gave him the wrong idea with everything else?
Honestly, they definitely need to talk, no matter what that afternoon actually meant. And regardless of any misunderstandings, this unresolved, awkward silence is too much. It is only going to build a massive, invisible wall between them. And they have literally known each other for way too long for this.
Going all the way back to middle school, one chaotic afternoon shouldn't ruin things.
Ending up as total strangers who cannot even speak would be heartbreaking.
Taking a deep breath, our boy tries to calm his racing heart. He quickly replies, telling her it is fine and suggesting tomorrow afternoon.
There is no instant reply, leaving him leaning back against his headboard.
His mind is already racing, desperately wondering what they will even say tomorrow. At this point, our boy is completely stressed, wondering how he's even supposed to face her. He meets up with Su Baizhou by a lake in the park they used to pass by back in middle school. The place is packed with childhood memories, and she's already sitting on the bench waiting. She has her hair up in a high ponytail, looking incredibly delicate with her pale neck exposed. But her eyes are completely red and swollen. She's clearly been crying her eyes out lately.
Seeing her look so hurt honestly breaks our boy's heart, and he feels this instant wave of guilt.
He walks over and sits down, but intentionally leaves a pretty awkward gap between them. A heavy silence falls over them as the afternoon breeze gently ripples across the lake. Sunlight glares off the water while this absolute dead silence starts to stretch out. It's so awkward.
He just stares at the shimmering water, desperately racking his brain for a way to break this painful silence.
He finally tries to apologize, but she suddenly cuts him off right there. Her slender fingers grip the hem of her shirt so tightly her knuckles turn white. She's clearly terrified, admitting she was way too impulsive that day. She begs for forgiveness, but our boy tells her there's no need to apologize. He tries to keep his tone light and casual so she doesn't feel too guilty. He jokes that nothing really happened, and even if it did, he's the one who lucked out.
She snaps her head up, her eyes immediately welling with tears again.
Seeing her on the verge of crying again completely catches him off guard. He stops, realizing he can't run away from this anymore.
No more beating around the bush. It's time to rip the Band-Aid off.
Looking straight into her eyes, he seriously brings up the flowers from that day. He confesses they were actually meant for Su Wan, but she already has a boyfriend. He saw them together, and it honestly left him completely heartbroken back then.
Since she showed up right after, he panicked and just shoved the flowers into her hands.
He apologizes for causing the misunderstanding and messing everything up so badly. He apologizes for causing trouble, but as she hears this, there's absolutely no shock or disappointment on her face. She just nods quietly.
Her calmness is actually wild, and she whispers that she already knew. Her voice is so soft it almost gets carried away by the wind.
She reveals she saw him watching Su Wan and her boyfriend, so she knew the flowers weren't for her.
Our boy is completely stunned. He had no idea she knew the whole truth.
But she just sniffles, turning her gaze back toward the shimmering lake.
Under the warm sunlight, her fragile profile looks almost translucent and so delicate.
She softly adds that she was still incredibly happy since it was her first time getting flowers.
And they were from him. A massive silence stretches between them as the lake ripples.
Just when he thinks she won't say another word, she slowly speaks up. Her voice is light as a feather as she confesses that she has always liked him. Even though he had a hunch, hearing her say those words out loud hits different. Our boy's heart skips a beat, completely caught off guard by the sudden confession.
It's a strange, heavy feeling as she starts talking about when they first met in middle school.
She tells him how nice he was back then, always sharing his eraser with her, even though he barely had any himself, and she slowly starts reminiscing.
It's like she's finally sharing a long-buried secret, her eyes filled with gentle warmth.
No shot. This backstory is too sweet. He really always waited to walk her home?
On the way home from school, you always walked on the outside of the street, subconsciously pulling me back if a car came. Even though you would immediately let go right after and pretend like absolutely nothing happened. Her voice is dead quiet at first, just completely emotionless. But then high school happened.
When I found out we were not in the same class anymore, I was depressed for so long.
But I told myself it was okay because we still lived pretty close to each other.
We were bound to run into each other eventually.
But once high school started, it felt like you were drifting further and further away from me.
Sometimes when we crossed paths in the hallway, you would just give me a cold nod and keep walking.
You did not say a single extra word to me, even though I desperately wanted to talk. I wanted things to be like before, but I had no idea what to say.
All I could do was watch her back walk away.
Now look at her hands. She is literally twisting her fingers together from sheer anxiety.
I always knew you only saw me as a friend, just a really, really good friend.
I never dared to confess my feelings because I was terrified of what would happen. If we could not even be friends anymore, I would rather just silently stay by your side. Whenever I saw you playing basketball on the court, I would always pretend to just walk by, just to catch one extra glimpse of you. I secretly left a bottle of soda on your desk every single day, but you always assumed it was from someone else. You never had a clue it was me.
Man, tears are literally starting to well up in her eyes now.
When I heard you wanted to confess to Su Wan, I actually followed you the entire night.
I watched you prepare everything and saw how incredibly excited you were, only to watch your disappointment. Disappointment. But when you ended up stuffing those flowers into my hands, I held that bouquet and stayed awake all night, feeling completely heartbroken yet secretly happy at the same time. Heartbroken because I knew deep down those flowers were never meant for me. But happy because it was the only real thing connected to you that I could actually hold on to, even if it was just a massive misunderstanding.
Heavy tears are starting to drop now, but she is too overwhelmed to even wipe them away.
Her shoulders are trembling as she softly sniffles. This is the same cheerful, energetic girl who is always smiling. But right now, she is sobbing like a little kid, and honestly, it is so heartbreaking to watch. Seeing her cry like this completely twists our main character's heart. It hurts him badly.
He silently pulls out some tissues and gently wipes the tears from her face.
But that gentle touch completely shatters her defense, letting out all her bottled-up pain.
She suddenly turns and throws herself straight into his arms, burying her face in his chest, her muffled, painful sobs starting to break through.
Her burning tears quickly soak his shirt, and honestly, she's even getting snot all over it. It is a sticky mess, but he does not care about that at all right now.
He hesitates for a second before slowly reaching out to gently pat her back.
Clumsily comforting her, telling her, okay, don't cry anymore, while feeling her warm body in his embrace.
Feeling her slight trembling, his heart completely melts. After some time, her heavy crying finally calms down into quiet, soft sniffles. She pulls back from his chest, messily wiping her face with the back of her hand. With his eyes and nose all red, he honestly looks like a bullied little rabbit. Then, looking like he finally made up his mind, he suddenly stands up from the bench. Taking a deep breath, he uses every ounce of his strength to yell right at Fang Yuan.
He shouts, "Fang Yuan, I like you!" Fang Yuan's name echoes across the empty lakeside, sounding so incredibly clear.
It literally leaves Fang Yuan's ears ringing. His heart starts pounding crazy fast as he watches the other boy's chest heave. Su Baizhou's tear-filled eyes look absolutely stunning right now. They are filled with sheer determination as he says, "I know you like Su Wan." But then his voice drops, carrying a heavy, unmistakable tremor. He still forces the words out. "Fang Yuan, will you be my boyfriend?" Fang Yuan is totally frozen, just staring at that tear-stained face. It is such an incredibly sincere face, making Fang Yuan's heart go absolutely wild. It is practically in his throat as he listens to all those little memories. All those hidden details of Su Baizhou's love that he had completely ignored before. Something inside Fang Yuan's chest just completely overflows with a strange, aching warmth. It is both sweet and painful, mixed with a sudden wave of guilt. You have to feel for him, while Fang Yuan was busy chasing after Su Wan. There was always this quiet gaze right behind him, silently following his every move, watching over him and protecting him from the shadows.
He never once left. And honestly, as for Su Wan,
with everything happening lately, Fang Yuan realizes he barely even thinks about her anymore. That old hidden crush feels so distant compared to Su Baizhou's warm, genuine tears. Facing this raw, passionate embrace, his past feelings just completely fade away. There is zero spark left for Su Wan, but seeing Fang Yuan stay silent, the light in Su Baizhou's eyes slowly fades as his head drops. His shoulders slump, looking so visibly heartbroken it actually hurts to watch. Fang Yuan's chest tightens at the sight, and he finally speaks. "Baizhou." His voice is incredibly gentle as Su Baizhou's shoulders give a sudden shudder. The poor guy just freezes up completely, too scared to look up. He is absolutely terrified of seeing rejection in Fang Yuan's eyes. Fang Yuan looks at him with pure sincerity. "We can take it slow." "Let's not rush like that afternoon," he says. "I really want to know you. I want to be with you." Hearing this, Su Baizhou snaps his head up. His eyes light up like literal stars, filled with pure shock and disbelief. Then comes total euphoria, before he suddenly remembers what happened that afternoon. Instantly, a massive blush creeps across his face all the way to his ears. He turns so red he looks absolutely adorable and incredibly shy. He gives a massive, eager nod to agree. And practically the next second, he just throws himself forward. He buries his hot face right against Fang Yuan's chest again. He wraps his arms tightly around his waist like he never wants to let go. He nuzzles gently into the embrace like a spoiled, happy kitten. Finally, he lets out a soft, muffled whisper. "Okay." Fang Yuan just smiles and wraps his arms around him, holding him tight. Her body feels so soft and warm, wrapping him in this scent of sunshine and tears. It brings this insane sense of peace mixed with pure excitement. Thrill and a little bit of nervous energy are literally swirling in his chest right now. He just cannot calm down. Is this actually what falling in love feels like? Turns out it is absolutely beautiful. Meanwhile, the sunset starts slowly dipping below the horizon. Golden light washes over the lake, painting the shimmering ripples in a massive wave of color. It is a warm, dazzling crimson. Honestly, the visuals here are just unreal. Sunset frames her face, catching this incredibly soft, glowing light. Peaceful and perfect, the moment is instantly engraved deep in his heart. This is low-key the kind of core memory he will never forget. Soon, they arrive at Su Baizhou's apartment. The night breeze carries a slight chill, but standing next to her, he does not feel cold at all. Hallway light shines down diagonally, casting a soft shadow over her long, delicate eyelashes.
She looks absolutely stunning. Right then, she stops, turning around to face him, though their hands are still tightly locked together.
Neither wants to let go. "We are here," she whispers.
Her voice is incredibly soft, carrying this sweet hint of reluctance.
"Yeah," he replies, but his hand does not budge a single inch.
Her fingers feel so warm and delicate, and holding them in his palm feels absolutely amazing. He cannot bring himself to let go. "Well, guess I should head up," she says softly.
Looking up, her eyes are incredibly bright and sparkling.
They are full of longing, just as he is about to tell her, okay.
She suddenly throws her arms open and steps right into his space, looking up. Expectation is written all over her face. "Give me a hug," she pouts.
That cute tone is literally impossible to refuse.
He smiles, his heart overflowing with sweetness as he steps forward to gently pull her in. Holding her close, she feels even softer than she actually looks. The clean scent of her shampoo mixes with that sweet, unique fragrance of hers.
It is completely intoxicating. She immediately wraps her arms tighter, burying her face in his shoulder with a gentle rub.
Like a satisfied little kitten, she holds him as they stand in silence. No words are needed, just pure, cozy warmth. After a while, she reluctantly loosens her grip just a tiny bit.
She still hates leaving his arms, but just as he starts to step back, she suddenly stands on her tiptoes, landing a quick, soft kiss.
Brushing the corner of his mouth, it feels as light as a feather. Yet it sends an absolute jolt of electricity straight to his heart. "See you tomorrow," she blurts out. Too shy to look at him, her face turns bright red.
Dashing up the stairs, her ponytail bounces happily with every step.
It perfectly matches her excited mood, leaving our boy standing there completely frozen.
He dizzily touches his mouth where she just kissed him, still feeling that warm, sweet touch.
It is sweet like fruit candy melting his heart. Honestly, this romance is peak wholesome. Only when he hears her door click shut does he finally turn and walk away. He has this massive grin he just cannot wipe off. The second he gets home, his phone buzzes. Multiple messages flood in from Su Baizhou, one after another. She's chatting about random, everyday details like a cute little sparrow. Our boy gets home and his mom instantly asks why he's smiling like a fool. He blames it on the great weather and a cute stray cat that just ran past. Our boy asks her if she saw the fat cat while eating an apple. He asks if she wants a photo, and right after that, she sends him a cute photo of a half-bitten apple posing with a peace sign. It's absolutely adorable, and our boy is lying in bed replying to every single text. He can't stop smiling. Honestly, these are just normal, everyday conversations. But reading them now, every single word feels completely soaked in honey. It's pure sweetness. The screen light flickers in his pitch-black room. Reflecting his goofy, lovesick smile, the boy is absolutely down bad. He lies awake for hours that night, but he doesn't feel bored at all. This isn't the painful tossing and turning of heartbreak or some messy nightmare. Instead, it's this incredibly light, floating feeling, as if his entire body. He's drifting on warm clouds filled with pure, unadulterated joy. His heart feels like it's soaking in fizzy soda, bubbling with happy little sparks. It's so sweet. His mind is constantly replaying every single detail of their day. The teary eyes by the lake, the emotional confession, and that warm, tight hug. Not to mention that sudden, slightly rushed but incredibly sweet kiss in the hallway. Every single memory makes his heart flutter and his smile stretch even wider. He pulls the blanket over his face, but he still can't help giggling out loud. His chest is so full. So this is what being in love actually feels like. Honestly, it's so wholesome. Our innocent virgin boy really has a lot to learn.
But that's the charm. Now, on to his first official date with the gorgeous Su Baizhou.
They decided to meet at a pottery workshop to make some custom crafts together. He wanted to create some core memories, and when she finally showed up, she's wearing a lovely pastel blue dress that falls just above her knees. It shows off her incredibly long, slender legs. Honestly, she looks stunning. Her hair is let down, cascading naturally over her shoulders. The ends are styled in soft curls. Seriously, she's peak girlfriend material. She's wearing subtle, natural makeup with a gorgeous, glossy peach tint on her lips.
It's incredibly pretty. The moment she spots him, her eyes curl into adorable crescents.
Beaming with pure joy, she looks absolutely breathtaking. She asks if he's been waiting long, jogging over to him. A light, refreshing citrus scent instantly drifts over, completely catching him off guard. It smells amazing, putting him in the best mood. He tells her he just arrived. But he's staring, totally hypnotized. He's used to her usual, casual, barefaced look. Today feels completely different, though he can't quite put his finger on why. She just looks exceptionally pretty, and he literally can't look away. The only sounds are the soft hum of the spinning wheel and some relaxing background music.
With a super cozy vibe, they strap on their aprons.
Sitting face to face at the wheel, they prepare to show off. The instructor gives them a quick run-through, teaching them the basic hand movements,
leaving them alone to experiment and create their own masterpiece.
The clay feels cool and wet against his fingers. He tries to mold it,
centering the clay on the wheel to shape it into a cup.
But the clay stubbornly keeps leaning to one side, completely refusing to cooperate no matter what, leaving him totally defeated. And honestly, Su Baizhou is having a chaotic time too. She furrows her brow, getting a tiny speck of clay right on her nose. But she remains totally locked in, fiercely battling that incredibly stubborn lump.
Seeing her look so serious and adorable makes him struggle to hide a smile.
"Oh no, it fell again," she softly gasps, staring at the collapsed mound of clay. Pouting with frustration, she puffs her cheeks out like an adorable and angry little whale.
"Take it slow. Don't rush," Jung Chenwan says softly, stepping right behind her busy workbench.
Keep your hands steady and apply even pressure, following the rotating wheel spin. This is pure romance gold, guys. He gently covers her hands, guiding her. Feel the rotation, he whispers, teaching her exactly how to shape it. Her soft hair lightly brushes against his chin, sending a ticklish, tingly feeling right through him. The subtle scent of sweet citrus drifting off her skin becomes incredibly clear to him. It floats right at his nose, making his heart flutter. He can easily feel her body tense up slightly within his close embrace. Her shoulders are stiff at first, but she slowly relaxes against him. Trusting his guidance, she moves with him, and after their combined efforts on this piece, something that can barely be called a cup finally begins to take form right here. Even though it is pretty lopsided, and the surface is super rough to touch. You could even call it ugly, but it is the very first piece they have ever crafted together as a couple. It means the world, and as she looks down at that awkward clay draft, her eyes sparkle like she has just discovered a chest of forgotten gold. She is absolutely beaming with happiness, like she completed a true masterpiece. "This is our very first creation," she says with a bright, beautiful smile. She immediately whips out her phone, insisting on taking a sweet selfie with their cute, ugly masterpiece. Honestly, this couple is too wholesome. Her bright smile instantly warms his heart up. Leaving the pottery studio, they happily walk hand in hand down the street. Wandering casually through the quiet, historic neighborhood, they enjoy this rare and deeply peaceful afternoon together. The vibe here is incredibly cozy, buzzing with the pleasant, warm bustle of everyday life. It is so comforting. Passing by a small bookstore, they spot a tiny shop selling vintage trinkets. Su Baizhou is instantly drawn to the display, eagerly pulling him inside by a sleeve. She is completely fascinated by all the quirky, strange little trinkets decorating the shelves. Touching everything like an excited, curious kid, her pure wonder is just too endearing to watch. In the end, they decide to buy 2 yellowed vintage CDs with musical artists they do not recognize at all. They just love the retro aesthetic of the covers and that nostalgic, old-school feel. The sweet plan is to listen to them together at home and discover some new tunes. As dusk settles, they find a cozy seat in a tiny dessert shop right on the corner. Ready to rest their feet, they realize they are actually the only customers inside. The place is perfectly quiet, the air thick with the sweet aroma of fresh cream and hot waffles. The sweet smell instantly lifts their spirits, and she happily orders a fresh, delicious strawberry souffle. The moment it arrives, she scoops up a big bite and eagerly holds it right to his lips. She promises it is amazing, so he takes a bite.
And yeah, it is definitely a bit too sugary for his taste.
It is not something he normally enjoys, but seeing her excited, hopeful gaze, he simply nods and tells her with a warm smile that it is absolutely wonderful. He immediately smiles with pure satisfaction, looking just like a happy kid with candy as he takes a huge bite of his dessert.
Honestly, with that bit of cream on his cheek, he is too cute. When night falls, our boy Fang Yuan walks him downstairs like usual.
Same old cozy streetlights, same old stairwell. But having him there makes everything feel so incredibly warm.
The cute guy looks up, his eyes reflecting the soft glow of the street lamps.
They are sparkling with pure joy, and Fang Yuan just can't look away. His heart is overflowing with sweetness. What a perfect day. Seriously, every single second spent together feels like a dream. Next thing you know, they are wrapping their arms around each other, holding on tight, feeling each other's warm heartbeat. He clings to Fang Yuan's waist, refusing to let go.
But just as Fang Yuan gently tries to pull back,
the cute guy suddenly holds him tighter and gets on his tiptoes. He wraps his arms around Fang Yuan's neck, whispering right in his ear. It's the most adorable, shy little voice you've ever heard. He softly asks for a kiss and immediately shuts his eyes. His long eyelashes are fluttering and his cheeks are completely flushed red. He is literally too precious. There is no way Fang Yuan can say no. Fang Yuan's heart completely skips a beat, pounding like crazy. Overwhelmed with nerves and pure excitement, he slowly leans in.
he closes the distance, gently tilting his head toward those soft lips.
And then boom, the second their lips touch, everything changes. That incredibly soft feeling sends a massive jolt straight through his chest. He literally freezes up. His partner's lips are so warm and soft, carrying the sweet taste of strawberry souffle mixed with his own unique scent.
It's a comforting scent that completely fills Fang Yuan's senses.
He is totally losing himself in this slow, gentle kiss. It is so delicate, nothing like that rushed sneak attack by the lake. And thank goodness it's not like that chaotic mess at his apartment either. At this point, time completely stands still for the two of them. The entire world goes quiet, leaving only the sound of their soft breathing. Their rapid heartbeats are echoing, pounding in perfect sync. So this is what a real emotional kiss is supposed to feel like. It's so amazing that Fang Yuan never wants this moment to end. A sudden urge to deepen the kiss starts bubbling up inside him.
It takes over his mind, and without even thinking,
he remembers all those romance novels he used to read. Not to mention the clueless advice his friends gave him back in the day. Determined to try, he tentatively nudges open his partner's lips. But instead of a smooth, passionate welcome, things go hilariously wrong. His tongue bumps straight into his partner's closed teeth. Oh no, the ultimate awkward moment strikes as they both snap their eyes open. Staring blankly at each other from inches away, they are completely frozen. Luo Ye clearly sees the confusion in her eyes before it melts into an amused smile. The smile slowly ripples in her eyes as they crinkle. They sparkle with a rosy blush and shy sweetness as she looks at him. This only makes our boy Luo Ye flustered, forcing a sudden step back. His face completely explodes into a burning, bright red blush. He is so embarrassed he wants to vanish into thin air right then and there. Scratching his head, he can barely form a coherent sentence. Not knowing how to explain his awkwardness, she finally bursts out laughing. She covers her mouth with her hand, her shoulders shaking softly. Giggling that he is so silly, she makes him blush harder as he stammers about his lack of experience. He frantically tries to defend himself, wishing the ground would swallow him. It is too embarrassing, but she just suppresses her giggles and says she gets it. Yet her eyes overflow with amusement, finding his absolute panic incredibly cute. She gently pokes his cheek with a warm finger, teasingly asking if it is his first time.
she says it is completely fine and they can learn together.
Blushing even harder under her gaze, he quickly urges her to head inside. His cheeks are burning up as he tells her it is getting late. and not to keep her mom waiting, to which she softly nods. She obediently turns toward the stairs, but stops after 2 steps to playfully wink at him. With a sweet smile, she silently mouths the words, "Good night, baby."
Luo Ye stands there touching his lips, still reeling from the awkward way their teeth bimped. He cannot help but laugh, his heart completely overflowing with sweet affection.
The air still feels filled with the sweet scent of strawberries and her unique fragrance. It is incredibly sweet, but then boom, the college exam scores finally drop.
Some celebrate while others grieve, and there is a huge gap between their scores.
The massive score difference sets them apart as they sit side by side at the desk.
The glowing computer screen displays a dizzying, crowded list of universities and majors. The sheer volume of choices is overwhelming, weighing heavily on their hearts. The room is dead silent, save for the occasional chirp of cicadas outside. Even the distant kitchen noises cannot break this heavy, suffocating atmosphere. His score is significantly higher than hers, carving a deep chasm between them. The visible gap standing between them leaves him with a bitter taste. They flip through the college admissions guide, fingers tracing names of different cities and schools. Their minds are a mess of emotions, realizing the once distant future is now staring them down. It is all coldly laid out on paper, where every single choice they make could lead them down entirely different paths and tear them apart geographically. He stares at her downcast face, her long eyelashes casting small shadows. She looks so incredibly lonely, and the sight of her melancholy hurts him deeply. His throat goes completely dry as he softly calls out her name, Baizhou. Determined to break the heavy silence, he has already made up his mind. He suggests he could easily choose a closer school to stay near her. Or they could find universities in the same city to apply to together. But she suddenly stops him, pressing her warm fingertips gently against his lips. Cutting off his words, her eyes shine with absolute resolve. She turns to look at him with a clear, serious gaze, telling him not to do this. Fang Yuan tells her to choose the place she wants most, the one where she can chase her dreams. He insists she shouldn't change her future or throw away her opportunities just for him. That wouldn't be fair to either of them, and he refuses to let her live with regrets. His voice is incredibly quiet, yet absolutely unshakable. Every single word hits her right in the chest, making her heart sink. That crushing weight of harsh reality starts pulling at her all over again. Her chest feels tight as she looks down, unable to meet his eyes. In a barely audible whisper, she mutters that long distance is just too hard. She has seen way too many couples break up this way, fading into nothing. Too many bonds worn down by distance and time, ruined by constant misunderstandings. All of these tragic scenarios keep flashing through her mind, filling her with pure dread just thinking about the next 4 years. Not being there when he needs her or when he is feeling down. Only being able to text weak comforts through a screen when he's hurt. Just the thought of not being able to run to his side makes her suffocate. Her heart aches, but then Fang Yuan suddenly cups her face in his hands. He gently forces her to look up, his eyes filled with absolute determination. His hands are warm, and his gaze is completely clear and focused. It is like he is looking right into her soul, seeing all her hidden fears. He tells her to listen, delivering every word like a sacred vow. He says that falling in love with someone is not the hard part. But keeping that love alive across time and distance, that is what is truly beautiful. Honestly, this line is so peak. She is completely stunned, deeply moved by his words. Her mind is racing, so he gently pinches her cheek to break the tension. It does not hurt at all, just a sweet, playful gesture to calm her down. He teases her, asking if she is really giving up before they even start. They still have a whole 2-month summer break ahead, so why look so miserable? Frowning now just wastes their precious time together when they should be enjoying it. He wants them to focus on the present and face the future as a team. His words act like a fresh summer breeze, sweeping away all her dark worries, instantly clearing her mind as she watches him play it cool. Seeing him try so hard to comfort her makes her heart completely melt.
She is so touched, and he is right, they still have 2 whole months.
A beautiful, long summer and endless tomorrows to spend wrapped up in each other. There is absolutely no need to ruin the present by stressing over the unknown. She grabs his hand and playfully pinches his soft cheeks right back. A smile breaks across her face as she pushes her anxiety aside. She agrees to cherish the moment and take on whatever comes next together. He wrinkles his nose and says, "Now that is much better." His brilliant smile returns, his eyes shining brighter than ever before. Seriously, he is gorgeous. For the rest of the break, the two of them are completely inseparable, spending every single moment together. It is like they are trying to hoard a lifetime of memories right now. They soak up this beautiful time while cicadas buzz endlessly outside. It is repetitive, but it is the perfect soundtrack to their peak summer romance. Farewell is still far off, and they're just cherishing every single second. Holding hands, they wander familiar streets. Every corner is packed with memories, their shadows stretching along in the sunset, overlapping tightly, never letting go. Then, a distant train whistle echoes through the quiet. It low-key feels like a painful reminder of their upcoming departure. But neither of them lets go. They just squeeze each other even tighter. In barely a month, everything changes. She and Su Baizhou are heading to colleges in different cities, and the sheer thought of it is tearing her apart. Plus, there is a lingering guilt weighing heavily on her chest. She realizes she still owes him a proper official confession to start things right. Because they deserve a real, beautiful beginning. But their actual start was just messy tears and stupid misunderstandings. Honestly, it was the least romantic beginning ever. She's determined to clear the slate and give him a beautiful beginning.
So she takes him to their old secret spot.
An abandoned cargo train track right on the edge of town, packed with quiet, beautiful childhood memories. Wild grass grows over the tracks while old signal lights glow in the twilight. That faint light creates the absolute perfect romantic vibe. He's super confused, just looking around the empty tracks with so many questions. Without saying a word, she pulls a small bouquet from her bag. No fancy roses this time. Instead, it's just simple sunflowers and daisies, symbols of bright hope and warmth. They're messily wrapped in brown paper. Not elegant at all, but it is packed with her entire heart. Su Baizhou completely freezes. His eyes are wide with shock as she hands them over. Her throat goes dry. But she's incredibly serious, telling him some things must be said formally, to finally give them their real start. The evening breeze gently blows his hair, making him look absolutely gorgeous. But he doesn't take them yet. Actually saying she likes him is so much harder than she ever imagined. But she means every word. It's not out of habit or just being touched by his kindness. She genuinely fell for him, her heart completely choosing him, leaving absolutely no room for anyone else. The signal light flickers in his eyes, reflecting his soft expression. She pauses. That simple bouquet suddenly feels so heavy in her hands. It holds all her love as she asks to start their future together. She asks him to make those words real, Baizhou. She wants to cross distance and time just to keep walking by his side. Into the future, forever. He goes silent for a few seconds, completely speechless. He just stares at her quietly, his eyes glistening with tears. Instead of taking the flowers, he gently reaches out and caresses her cheek. His warm fingertips tremble slightly as he softly calls her a little dummy. His voice is thick with emotion, completely overwhelmed by her gesture. He finally takes the flowers, cradling them gently against his chest. It is like he is holding his entire world, accepting her sweet gift. He promises to keep this moment locked in his heart forever. She wants that promise too, as they sit together on the cold train tracks. Leaning shoulder to shoulder, they watch the city lights flicker to life, like a gorgeous sea of stars. Neither of them speaks, simply enjoying the quiet comfort of their embrace. Feeling his warmth, the heavy anxiety she carried for so long finally settles into peaceful relief, though college flies by way too fast. And yet, it also drags on. Time itself is the fast part. 4 years flash by, but their long-distance days feel like eternity. Every single day of missing each other drags on forever. Sophomore year hits hard with heavy classes, and then the inevitable fight happens. It explodes without warning, and honestly, the reason is just low-key heartbreaking.
She completely forgets a minor club performance he mentioned 3 whole times. She misses their scheduled video call to wish him luck, leaving him totally silent. He does not blame her, but that heavy silence bleeds through the phone. It drowns her like a cold wave, fueling her guilt and panic.
He softly calls out her name, Fang Yuan, sounding utterly exhausted.
His heavy words pierce right through her, admitting he feels so lost. It feels like they are just dating their phone screens, exchanging empty texts, sharing their entire lives digitally, but the moment they look up, nobody there, just empty space. She desperately wants to explain that it was an accident. She wants to apologize, but then she hears him softly sniffle. That tiny, heartbreaking sound crushes her, leaving her completely speechless. He tells her to just drop it and hangs up, leaving a cold dial tone. 3 days of agonizing silence follow, with her last goodnight text sitting unread. Right next to it is that dreaded, lonely, red exclamation mark. He actually blocked her. Oh, bro, the emotional damage of that red warning sign is unreal. Her chest feels completely hollowed out, aching with pure agony. She is gripped by absolute panic, terrified of losing him forever. Is this really how they end? By the 3rd afternoon, she breaks. Unable to take the pain, she books the next train to his city. No warning, no texts, just one burning need to see his face. She needs to apologize because losing him is not an option. The train pulls in late at night with the entire city fast asleep. Only the station was lit. The freezing wind hit him, making him shiver. Still, it couldn't sweep away the panic inside him as he dragged his heavy suitcase. His eyes searched everywhere. Then he froze. Su Baizhou was standing right there in the shadows of the exit. She wore a cream-colored winter coat and a thick scarf. All bundled up. She stood there all alone, looking low-key heartbreaking. Her swollen eyes showed she had been crying for hours. The moment she saw him, her tears spilled. He dropped his suitcase, rushed forward and pulled her tightly into a warm hug. She went stiff. Then she melted, wrapping her arms completely around his waist. Hot, emotional tears poured out, soaking his collar as she sobbed uncontrollably. It was like she was crying out all the raw pain she kept bottled up for days. Lu Ye choked up. His voice trembled as he asked what she was doing there. Her muffled voice was thick with heavy tears, whispering through her heavy sobs that she knew he would come. He asked how long she had waited. His heart shattered, hugging her even closer. Silence. She just buried her face deeper, clinging with everything she had. Never to separate. She had waited at that station for 3 whole days, staying until the very last train arrived before leaving in absolute disappointment, returning right on time the next day. Honestly, this reveal is so painful. Learning the truth felt like a cold hand grabbing his heart, squeezing so hard he could barely breathe. Deeply guilty, he held her tight, wishing he could give her the entire world just to make up for his mistakes. That night, near the station, they checked into a quiet, low-key budget hotel near the corner. No words were needed while checking in together. She stayed glued to his side, like a frightened little kitten relying entirely on him inside the cramped elevator. Only the heavy silence of longing filled the small space. The door clicked shut. The outside world vanished, leaving only him and Su Baizhou. She leaned against the door, looking up at him with those red, tear-filled eyes. Her wet lashes made her look like a heartbroken little rabbit, and it absolutely shattered his heart. Without a word, he leans down and kisses him, using that kiss to tell him all about his guilt, his longing, and his deep-seated anxiety. Their lips tangle, tasting salty tears and a sudden, desperate urge to completely possess each other, trying to meld their bones together. Baizhou eagerly kisses him back with a sudden desperation, his fingers tightly grabbing onto the fabric of his shirt, holding on like it is his absolute last lifeline, completely refusing to let go of him. Their breath turns ragged as the heat between them in this tiny room instantly spikes.
The air grows heavy with sweet tension, and honestly, nobody knows who even made the first move. Sweaters and jackets drop onto the floor one by one, exposing their warm and bare skin to each other. They stumble backward together, falling onto the small bed without breaking their intense embrace, holding each other close, completely unwilling to pull away. Under the dim and soft light, Baizhou's pale skin glows with a gentle warmth. He looks up with dazed eyes, showing absolute vulnerability and pure reliance on him. Honestly, this is the exact emotional payoff we have been waiting chapters for. With trembling hands, he slowly removes the very final barrier and leans down to kiss every single inch of his skin,
soothing all of his deep pain and silent insecurities with soft kisses, while Baizhou clumsily tries to kiss him back.
Baizhou's fingernails accidentally scrape softly against his back, leaving a light and tingling shiver behind. A sharp shiver runs straight through him as the last physical boundary completely disappears. The very moment they finally become one, Baizhou winces from a sudden sharp sting.
Letting out a soft and muffled whimper as fresh tears start streaming down his face again.
Those warm tears drip onto his shoulder, burning right into the MC's very soul.
He immediately stops his movements, gently kissing the tears away from his face. His heart completely aches. I am so sorry, Baizhou. I hurt you. But Baizhou just softly shakes his head.
He wraps his arms tightly around his neck, burying his face right next to his ear. Whispering in a soft breath that is barely even audible, "Do not stop. Keep going. I want to be entirely yours."
I want you to know how much I love you, and those words instantly spark a wild, raging fuse, igniting every single emotion deep inside his chest, while pale moonlight quietly slips through the small gaps of the curtains, casting the beautiful dancing shadows of their tight embrace onto the dim bedroom wall.
They are like two drowning souls in a dark sea, clinging onto each other for absolute dear life. Confirming their love in the most raw way, slowly moving from clumsy initial actions to perfect, natural sync.
As the pain completely washes away, pure and overwhelming bliss sweeps over them, drowning them both.
At the peak, Baizhou holds him close in a quiet embrace, crying from either pain or raw emotion. His warm tears completely wet his shoulder, shaking into the absolute core once again. Once everything finally settles down for the night, they squeeze together on the narrow single bed, holding each other tight, unwilling to let go. Baizhou curls up with his back to him, while the MC wraps a warm arm around his damp waist. Resting his chin on his soft hair, feeling his warm body and calm, steady breathing next to him tonight. His heart feels completely at peace, with only the two of them left in the silent room. Their slow and quiet breathing gently mixes with the faint sound of cars occasionally passing by far outside.
It is quiet and beautiful, and neither says a word.
Yet they understand each other perfectly without any speech.
And this is where the story shifts from cute romance to pure depth, guys.
They are no longer just long-distance lovers sharing daily updates across a cold screen, but rather two souls who have left a deep, permanent mark on each other for the rest of time. From that moment on, they were truly inseparable. Their 4 years of college were already wrapping up, almost too fast to process. Time was like a quiet, steady river, gently pushing them forward. From naive high schoolers to mature college students, they grew from clueless teens into young adults ready to face the world as the calendar pages turned. Their chat logs were packed with sweet, mundane daily texts like morning and night, what they ate, what they were doing, and endless random photos of the sky. Stray cats on the street, weird cafeteria dishes, every single message. And Photo was overflowing with their deep love and longing. In his phone gallery, photos of Su Baizhou gradually replaced his game screenshots, capturing everything from her barefaced laughs to her gentle smiles. He carefully saved every single one, scrolling through them whenever he was free. The longing would hit him hard, but after that, they rarely had any major. Sure, they still had disagreements and exhausting moments. They both felt the painful struggle of a long-distance relationship. But his hot tears in that cheap motel that night, man, this hit so close to home.
His hopeless waiting at the station and that tearful promise that she would show up
became a silent, sacred boundary between them.
It constantly reminded them to cherish each other and never let careless mistakes ruin it. They learned to reach out first before their emotions boiled over. They learned to be understanding and clumsy, but caring. They learned to compromise, even if it just meant sending a cute emoji.
Or saying they were exhausted and asking to talk tomorrow instead.
That was enough to melt any tension and make conflicts vanish. Their longing showed up in every corner of their lives.
It was always there, sometimes as a sudden silence during video calls,
where they just stared at each other, finding complete peace without a single word.
Sometimes it was a carefully packed box of hometown snacks she sent him.
Mostly crushed by the time it arrived, yet still sweet to the core. Sometimes it was her saved weather forecast for his city. Checking his weather was the very first thing she did every morning.
Just to remind him to dress warmly while keeping a growing stack of train tickets.
The worn-out edges with dates printed on red paper were carefully tucked away in the back of her drawer. Every single ticket represented a journey across mountains and seas just to meet. Each one was the perfect, beautiful proof of their long-distance love. The author really cooked here. Their brief moments together felt like stolen time, incredibly precious. By day, they walked through each other's campuses, sharing their separate worlds. By night, they huddled in tiny spaces, sharing warmth and breath. Holding each other tight, they dreaded the goodbye at the station. He would bury his face in her chest, refusing to let go, before looking up with red eyes, smilingly telling her to go. Seeing him try so hard to be strong always broke her heart. As the train pulled away, he would wave frantically outside the window. His figure kept shrinking until it was just a tiny, blurry dot. Once she was completely out of sight, Fang Yuan finally looked away and leaned back against the window. His heart was aching with longing. For 4 years, they survived purely on a mountain of train tickets. Countless long trips to see each other. They actually survived a 4-year long-distance relationship. Pushing through every struggle, they got to watch each other grow into who they were meant to be. Those awkward teens slowly transformed into mature, steady adults right before our eyes. Fang Yuan had heard Su Baizhou sob over group projects and saw her celebrate winning scholarships. He loved seeing her proud little smile, hurting whenever she hurt.
And celebrating her every win. She also knew how frustrated he got pulling all-nighters to code.
When he got his first internship offer, she was on the screen, smiling even wider than him.
They were always there for each other through the worst times, sharing every single drop of joy.
Even with 1,000 miles between them, they practically lived in each other's lives from age 12 to 22.
Sharing almost every tiny wave of sadness and joy, witnessing each other's growth.
Every single evolution, this love of theirs was already etched deep into their very bones. Absolutely inseparable. Finally, the long distance ended.
Honestly, this emotional payoff is so beautiful. Fang Yuan calls Su Baizhou immediately, his heart racing. Their 4 years of college had finally come to a beautiful end.
When the call connected, neither of them spoke. They just listened to each other breathe. Feeling the heavy silence, knowing that some things do not even need words. After a long pause, she softly whispered his name.
We are actually graduating, aren't we?
Yes, they really were. That graduation day, which once felt a million miles away, was suddenly their reality. The massive river called long distance, which they had struggled to cross. Stumbling and falling, they had finally made it to the other side. No more long distance, and no more whispering, "I miss you," to a cold screen. No more buying endless train tickets just to meet. Finally, they could be together every single day.
Absolutely inseparable, but their graduation ceremonies were held at their own separate schools. Due to bad timing, Fang Yuan could not make it to her city.
And she could not come to his either. It became their one final regret. Just a tiny speck of sadness. They had to watch each other on a video call. Wearing those slightly goofy graduation gowns and caps, sharing this massive milestone through a lens. When Su Baizhou turned her tassel, her eyes were shining so bright.
Like a happy kid getting candy, she whispered, "Look, I am all grown up."
Seeing her so happy made him smile right along with her. Tears are literally running down his face. His girl has finally grown up, and my heart is melting.
Once the ceremony ended, Fang Yuan went back to his dorm to pack. 4 years of memories, yet everything fit into just a few cardboard boxes.
Staring at the empty room, his heart ached. Just like that, college was over. Finally, from the very back of his drawer, he pulled out an old tin box stuffed with train tickets. Alongside their favorite Polaroid photo, the ultimate proof of their years of long-distance love. In the picture, she was holding up this crooked, ugly handmade mug. Smiling so wide, her eyes completely vanished. With a tiny speck of dirt still stuck to her nose. Seriously adorable. That beautiful moment was frozen in time, a memory he would cherish forever. He snapped a quick photo of it and sent it to her, feeling incredibly sweet. A moment later, he sends a photo showing a corner of his desk. That ugly mug they made together, he literally brought it to college. It sat by his desk lamp for 4 whole years, and next to it are dried up sunflowers and little daisies, kept safe inside a glass dome like it is some rare treasure. He preserved her love all along, and beneath the photo, he texted, "Fang Yuan. Let us go home." Honestly, she stares at those words for the longest time. Her eyes pool with tears. Honestly, this scene hits so different. Outside, the sun is blazing. The cicadas buzz loud. It feels exactly like that summer 4 years ago when they chose their colleges. Like nothing changed, though they are definitely not the same kids anymore. Years of distance only made their bond completely unbreakable. Deeper than ever. Finally, the end of the line. No longer just separate cities, but their shared home. A place full of warmth and love. Outside, the cicadas chirp just like before. The blazing sun mimics the very afternoon their story first started. Everything comes full circle, but their bond, it is on a whole new level. It has crossed mountains and rivers, engraved deep in their souls. She used to think love meant loud confessions and perfectly planned romance. But now she realizes love is actually much simpler than that. It is about silent understanding and knowing each other without words. Quiet, everyday companionship and staying loyal across any distance. Like him waiting at the station and her holding that train ticket. No words needed, that is just how they work. When you're young, forever feels like some epic, unreachable concept. Like you need some grand, dramatic story for it to count. But forever isn't about grand speeches. It is found in quiet tomorrows. Written on the backs of saved train tickets and after every fight. Still choosing to reach out, hidden in every ordinary day. They don't have some crazy world-saving plot or dramatic fantasy. Just 2 ordinary people who recognized each other in a massive crowd. And then awkwardly, stubbornly, holding on tight and never letting go. They survived the total chaos of youth, the insecurity and the doubts. Then they pushed through 4 long years of distance, surviving every hardship. And finally made it. Honestly, the author absolutely cooked with this romance. It is knowing the other person is waiting across the river. So you willingly wade through the deep water despite the thorns. Because as long as they are together, they are unstoppable. All that distance is finally in the past. Ahead of the train tracks, their shared destination called home, waiting with warm lights, good food, and the person she loves most in the world. For the rest of their lives, their future starts right here. Through every single morning, night, and passing year, she will hold his hand, walking together until the end of time, turning their forever into reality.